guys, welcome back to my channel. Rewind that. It's your girl Miss K. Tonight we're going to be talking about the latest episode of Power, which is episode number 8, called Deal with the Devil. Whew. Normally, guys, I watch this at 12 midnight when it comes on, right? Well, on demand. But tonight I actually just finished watching it because I was just super busy this weekend. And so everything is kind of fresh in me. And man, was this episode crazy. So before I go right into it, I just want to say that I honestly thought tonight's episode would be Sax's time to go, not Keisha. Now, I knew Keisha's days were numbered, but man, I did not think that she was going to go down tonight, nor did I think that anybody other than Tommy would have killed her. So anyway, before I get into more of my feelings on that, we're just going to start right into this episode, guys. I really want to try to condense it as much as possible, but it was just so much going on that sometimes you can't really condense a review, all right? Especially with this show. So anyway, the episode starts off with Dre visiting Sax, telling him that, yo, you need to take this ankle bracelet off of me. Like, I'm done with you. Take it off of me. And then Sax gonna have the nerve to say, what, you got some information on St. Patrick? Like, dude, you are on administrative leave. You have no freaking leg to stand on. You have no room to question anybody or be trying to get any information. So anyway, Dre is like, I ain't come here to trade with you. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, long story short, you guys know the story. You guys know what happens. He gets nowhere. Dre gets nowhere with Sax. And then he walks away. He calls James, and James lets him know that since you didn't show up to the meeting that I set up with Jason, it's a no-go for you now. Like, there's no deal. And especially, you need to stay away from me now that you're wired up or whatever. So, of course, Dre ain't feeling that. He wasn't happy with that. And whenever certain things like that happen with Dre, I kind of feel like, oh gosh, this guy is about to do something grimy. So that's kind of where I was left off with that. But anyway, Sax goes to visit Tamika in another scene, right? And he's looking for some help from her. And by the way, I just want to say, Tamika's new look, I'm here for it. Okay, anyway, so Tamika tells him, listen, the only thing that I could tell you is that you need to try to prove yourself right in this situation. And in the meantime, I'll look into some country club-like penitentiaries to make your 18-month prison stay, a little easy. And he's like, that don't help me feel any better about nothing. And she's like, well, listen, if you don't prove that Tommy Egan killed Proctor and Angela, jail is inevitable for you. So anyway, so then Proctor goes to visit Reek at school, and he finds out real quick that Reek is not the one. He's not some little gullible teenage kid or whatever that you could just try to question and, say a little tricky Fed type talk, and then he's going to fold. So he found out real quick, and Reek was like, it's illegal for you to be even talking to me, without my parents' consent. And so, of course, Sax felt real stupid and had to freaking tuck his tail and get the step in. So then Sax goes to bother Keisha. And when he went to go bother Keisha, I was like, oh yeah, you're so barking up the right tree right now. Like, she is definitely somebody that's going to flip. But anyway, Keisha held it down. She asked him, like, do you have a warrant and all of this? Because he was trying to say, oh, I can take you in as an accomplice if you know anything about, Tommy killing Angela and Proctor. And she's like, do you have a warrant, and you're trespassing on private property. So that didn't work out for him. Then we got Kate showing up once again. And guys, how many of us know that every time Kate show up, she's showing up to drop some type of bomb. Okay, so long story short, she tells freaking Keisha that Tommy killed Holly. I don't really know her reasonings for doing that. Like, I guess, you know what it is. She doesn't like Keisha and she wants her to go. So yeah, she pretty much was trying to scare her off. At the time, I didn't put two and two together, but as you watch further on in the episode, you see that, yeah, she was trying to scare Keisha off and get her out of there. But it didn't work, So anyway, so Keisha tried to act like she wasn't fazed, and she kicked Kate out. Now, I know that Keisha was fazed. Okay, you could see it in her face and everything, but she held her own, and she was like, just get out my house. All right, so then we have another scene where Tasha teaches Reek how to cut a brick to make a profit. And, it was just a little annoying to me to see this scene because Tasha looked super proud or super happy to be teaching her son this bullcrap. Okay, then Tasha's mother walks in and she sees a whole stack, of money on Tasha's desk, and Tasha tried to hurry up and scoop it away, but it didn't work because her mother was like, what is that about? And Tasha's like, I don't have to explain anything to you as long as the rent is getting paid, however I'm paying my rent, as long as the rent is getting paid and your rent is getting paid, you don't need to worry about it. And her mother's like, oh yeah, it does concern me, especially when you're trying to drag my grandson into this. And she's like, you're going to lose him just like you lost Raina. And so you could tell that hit a soft spot in Tasha. And Tasha was like, I'm trying to save my son, this and that. And the mother was like, this is not the way. Basically, I'm paraphrasing like I always do. This is not the way. And the only thing that's going to save that boy is Jesus. Okay? Amen now. All right. So, and she said, and the same for you. That's the only thing that's going to save you. And then that was that. So then we got Tariq at Ghost's office, and he goes to pick up, his tuition check. Ramona comes in, and he goes introduce Reek to Ramona, and she started talking about how, great his father is and he could do anything, blah, blah, blah. And that, because she's a political strategist, she normally works with, a new candidate or a different candidate each year, and that his father is possibly someone that she could be working with or looking forward to working with. And Reek is like, don't you have to have some type of background check for that? And Ghost is like, okay, it's time for you to go. Now, honestly, I thought that, them showing this scene was actually something that was gonna pop up throughout the episode, but it really didn't. I thought that Ghost's background was gonna come into play, but it didn't, guys. So I don't mean to waste anybody's time with little things like this. Okay. So anyway, now Sax goes to Blanca's house for help. Okay. He's really trying to get to the bottom. He's really trying to get himself, back into, he's trying to keep himself out of jail. Okay. So he goes to Blanca's house with some information about Keisha, that she possibly knows about Tommy killing Proctor and Angela. And Blanca says to him, she'll help him. But first, they put some information together and find out that Reek was the one that went to go get Kanan's ashes. And, why would he go get his ashes if he was the one that held him hostage or abducted him and all that kind of stuff. And, so they just came together and said, you know what? Blanca says, I will help you nail Dre and Tommy Egan. Okay. So then, let's pause for a minute. I noticed that Sax was no longer going after St. Patrick. It's kind of like he had this real, I don't like to use this, but he's had this real hard on for going after St. Patrick. And now that he sees St. Patrick, clearly ain't the one for him to be going after. He's not the one that anybody needs. Nothing that he's ever brought up against Ghost was concrete. So that's why he can't even go after him anymore. So now he's going after people he obviously is going to make sense to help save his job, or not even save his job, but just keep him out of jail. So anyway, Blanca receives the information from Sax. Well, she receives the serial number of Dre's bracelet, and she pops up on Dre and his daughter. And Dre start talking real quick, guys. What is up with this dude? He really is a snitch. He don't have no kind of street code. This guy is just something else. Okay, a super problem. So anyway, long story short, he lets Blanca know that there's no way that Kanan killed Raymond Jones, and that whatever witness told her that is lying. And he's like, but before I give you any information, because I got something you need to get this ankle bracelet off of me, and I want you to help Cooper Saxe pay for what he did to me and my daughter. And so she's like, yeah, but Cooper thinks that I'm working with him as a team or whatever, we're working together. And he said, I don't care what Saxe is telling you or what Saxe thinks, and you don't care either. And so, you know, he was right about that. He just called it just like he saw it, that Blanca don't give two craps about Saxe. So there she goes, okay, I'll help you nail Saxe. And I'm like, sheesh, Blanca, you a little two-faced, aren't you? Not that I care about Saxe, but I'm like, anyway, talk about looking out for yourself. Anyway, so Dre tells Blanca that he gave the address of Raymond Jones to Tariq St. Patrick because Tariq came around asking for the number. Okay, I mean, asking for the address. All right, so meanwhile, James uses Derek to put Rashad on blast at, like, I guess they were getting ready to do like an interview or some type of candidate thing, guys. I really wasn't, honestly, I wasn't really checking for those kind of scenes right now. But the scenes with Rashad and Ghost in them, I wasn't checking for it like that. So I'm just going to say real quick that, you know, Ghost seems like he tried to play a little chess move and had Derek pay one of the producers to turn on Tate's mic so that everybody in the audience, including Lorette, the other candidate, that everybody could hear how he really feels about the Queen's Child Project and also his running mate, okay, Lorette. All right, so that caused a whole problem and a whole situation where, you know, Tate was revealed for who the heck he really is. And then Ramona later on had to, you know, talk to him about dropping out of the race. Okay, y'all know the story. If y'all want to talk any more about that, you could just leave the comments down below for that. I'm cool. That's, you know, that's fine with me. But then Keisha pulls up. I mean, she gets pulled over by Blanca, of course. Who else? She gets pulled over by Blanca, and Blanca comes with a social worker. All right, and they hold cash over her head, basically, in order for her to sign an agreement that she's going to testify and be a witness, or what she's going to cooperate. And if she doesn't get cash back. And so Keisha's like, well, I want a lawyer. And so Blanca's like, okay, well, once you find counsel, then you can get your son back. And I'm like, wait one daggone minute. Can they do this? Like, this does not seem legal. Like, I'm not a lawyer or anything like that, but it really didn't sound right. And it kind of came off a little saxy to me. Okay. Like, sound like Blanca was on some Saxe stuff. Okay, yeah, I know that she mentioned, you know, that she had some type of info on Keisha with how, like, you know, Tommy's LLCs are popping up all on her books and everything, and that they came up with the possibility that, and we know it's not a possibility, we know it's true, but Blanca came up with the possibility that Keisha is laundering the money for Tommy through her shop. Okay, because his LLC is all over her books and everything. And but still, like, oh, and that her name is on the deed of the house. But it's like, still, like, this is all, like, there's still no evidence. Like, there's still no evidence like that. But more importantly, because I mean, I guess if they really wanted to put all this information in court, that could really hurt Keisha. Like, her having Tommy's name on her books, that's a bad look. All right, so let me just correct that. But the point is, she didn't have a warrant for any of these things. You know, you trying to take this lady's child and all of this stuff. So it just kind of seemed a little bit weird to me. I don't know if they screwed up in the writer's room with that, or if it's just Blanca being saxy and Keisha falling for the okie doke. I think it's more so like Keisha was falling for whatever Blanca was coming to her with. Like, you know, Keisha was going to crack sooner or later. Like, we all knew that. So, and Blanca was the one to do it. So, you know, Blanca, she knows how to do all that crap. The one person that Blanca can't do stuff like that with is Tommy or Ghost, because it's just like, okay, whatever. You say you got what you got nothing, right? Anyway. So, let me know what you guys think about that. Like, that whole Blanca pulling Keisha over and then holding the baby over her head like that. Like, trying to make it seem like cash was going to go into social services, like, right away. Like, that's a bit crazy. But Anyway, some of y'all out there, y'all probably know the law, and just, you know, let me know in the comments. Let's have a conversation. So anyway, after Keisha tells Cash not to tell anybody about what happened, that means nobody, Cash freaking goes and tells Tommy everything. And then Tommy goes and meets Keisha at home, and he goes ballistic on her. You know, Keisha's a little scared, but she's trying to explain to her, you know, explain herself. Like, listen, I didn't want to tell you any of these things, that I didn't say nothing with Saxe, and I didn't say nothing to, you know, Blanca, to the cops. And so, you know, he's like, well, why didn't you tell me? And she said, because I know you killed Holly. And she just didn't want to, you know, give him any reason to feel that she could not be trusted. And he's like, how long you knew that for? You know, with his psycho look, his hit list look. And she said, yesterday, I found out your mother came. She tried to scare me off, this and that. And so he softened up and like, oh, but you're still here? And I knew Keisha was safe after that, because honestly, I thought it was going down. So I think that moment he realized that, you know, Keisha is really down for him and all that stuff. But she kind of felt guilty. She felt guilty because she had just signed that agreement. And, you know, that's why later on she tried to call back talking about, oh, I changed my mind. I lied, you know. Anyway, so then Tommy calls Ghost. And he's like, listen, Saxe is a problem. He got to go. And Ghost is like, Saxe is law enforcement. You know, law enforcement is off limits. But then he realizes who he's talking to, and he's like, oh, yeah, well, maybe you don't know that. Okay? So then he hangs up on Tommy. All right, then Blanca comes in to try to press Ghost. And like I said before, she can't do that with somebody like Ghost, because it's like, I have nothing for you. Have a nice day. Anyway, and that's exactly what happened. He left her looking stupid. But unfortunately, because she tried to come to him and say, you know, I have some new information, a new lead on who shot up your house and who killed Proctor. And he did not even act like he gave two craps. And so she questioned that. And he just said, gotta go, have whatever kind of day you're gonna have. And he left. But unfortunately, he left his glass that he was just drinking out of. And of course, she goes and she grabs a little DNA sample from his glass. So she runs the DNA, and we'll get back to that in a minute. But anyway, so once Ghost heard, because before he left her, she let Ghost know, right? Blanca let Ghost know that Saxe is no longer law enforcement. You know, he is on administrative leave and all that other kind of crap. And so nobody's going to believe anything that he says. And you know, Ghost is listening and sinking this all in. So now basically it's open season for Saxe now, right? Because Ghost and Tommy pay Saxe a visit, and they're all set to get ready to kill this guy. Like, you should have stayed away from our families and all of that. But Saxe is running his freaking mouth up a storm, trying to get Ghost to turn against Tommy and all this. But it's like, it doesn't matter, because Ghost knows all of these things already that Saxe thinks he's telling him. So anyway, as he's talking though, he's running his mouth, and it actually winds up saving his life, because Ghost wants to hear a little more, like, what else do you know, you know? And so Tommy just like, we need to just kill him. Ghost says, no, you owe me for Angela. So Tommy says, all right. So they leave Saxe alone, but before they leave, Ghost tells him, like, we own you now, and I want all the information that you have on Tariq, and I need it ASAP, and you're not going to tell nobody about this, right? And Saxe agrees, but of course, he goes and tries to tell Warner about it. Anyway, so we're going to get to that later on. Meanwhile, Blanca presents her DNA results for Ghost, right? And it reveals it's a 50% match to the drop of blood left on the murder scene of Raymond Jones. And so automatically, you know, that points right to Tariq, because it's a 50% match. Like, it's not, obviously it's not Ghost, because it's not 100%. So 50% is his son. So anyway, so in return for all of this, you know, information and all that crap, Dre gets his cuffs off of him, and Saxe gets to be fired, which we will see in a minute. So anyway, Blanca visits Tasha, suppress her, and let her know that they have reopened the Raymond Jones murder investigation. And of course, that sends Tasha into a little frenzy. And then Saxe shows up to tell Warner that Tommy and Ghost broke into his home and they tied a bag over his head and, you know, they beat him up and they did this and they put a gun in his mouth and all of this stuff. And so while he's even saying it, even though I saw it, I didn't even believe him. Like, it just sounds like a bunch of crap, right? It sounds like a dude that was trying to make up something that he thinks gangsters would do. That's what it sounds like. And that's why what's his name? What's this freaking guy's name? Warner didn't believe a daggone thing that came out of Saxe's mouth, okay? And just so you guys know, guys, I had enough of Saxe this episode. Like, he was in too many scenes for me, all right? But I really thought he was going down this episode, but he didn't. But anyway, so he pretty much gets what he deserves, and Warner fires him, okay? And that's it. Like, it was just the end of the road for this guy. So who knows if he's going to actually still try to wind up helping Ghosts with the information for Tariq. Who knows where that's gonna go? Like, what's gonna happen to Saxe now is my question. What do you guys think about that? Anyway, next scene we have where Tommy, he's in the mall with Cash, and we find out soon that he's picking out a ring for Keisha. And meanwhile, Keisha gets a visit from Tasha, who's like, you know, coming in like, what's going on? You know, she's pressing her about the whole situation with Tariq. Everything, she's tying everything down to Tariq, and Keisha's trying to tell her, none of this has anything to do with Tariq. Like, I'm trying to leave town to save everybody, to save Tommy, to save myself and, you know, my son, make sure that, you know, Cash doesn't get taken away and all this stuff. So she's trying to explain herself, and she's trying to tell her, listen, I've held you down, Tasha, and I just need you to return this favor for me this one time and let me leave. So instead of Tasha realizing that Keisha was right, that she has been down for her and she has helped her in the past, and that she has asked too much of her before, and say, you know what, girl, all right, go on, go away. She's like, no. And she grabs Keisha's keys and she says, I'm gonna stay here. I'm gonna have to stay here and wait for Tommy to come. Like, girl, you know, there's a lot of people that was, you know, telling me, like, when I do the live discussions, they say they don't like Tasha. And I'm just like, why? But now I can't stand her right now. So anyway, I'm not feeling her, especially since after last week. So now, you know, Keisha, she's looking over at her gun. I mean, at her purse, right? Which the gun is in. And Tasha's like, what's in the purse, Keisha? What's in the purse? So then, you know, they both running after the purse and they start tussling, and y'all know the story. And they get a hold of the gun. And we know, guys, that every single time somebody in a show or a movie, two people are tussling over a gun, we always know, right, that somebody's going to get shot. And then we have to figure out who it is, because they all make the same stupid face, like, they both make that same stupid face, right? So then we got to figure out which one of them got shot. Anyway, this time it was Keisha, okay? Because I almost was wondering if it was going to be Tasha. I'm not even going to lie. Like, when they was doing all of that, and especially when Keisha killed that guy last week, I said, Keisha pulled the trigger now. I don't know now, you know? She drew blood. She got a taste last week, so she might, you know, do it again. But anyway, it wound up being Keisha. And then she's on the floor, you know, she's still alive. And Tasha, then she has the gun on her. And then Keisha is pleading for her life, folks. And Tasha's like, first she seemed like she's hesitant about it. And Keisha's like, what about Cash? And Tasha puts down the gun. Then she picks it back up and points it at her. And she's like, I'm sorry. And that was it. She just freaking blew her friend's brains out. Okay, well, guess they wasn't friends anymore, but wow. So, like I said, Keisha's pleas fall on deaf ears, and Tasha just, that was it. It was Tasha's first kill. And the scene where Tommy is coming home with Cash, and they got the ring, man, that was freaking heartbreaking. Like, I almost thought that I was gonna cry. And like, let me just say, I don't care for Keisha like that. But these scenes are very sad. Like especially when it has the children involved, you know, you feel bad for Cash, and then I felt really bad for Tommy because he's like, wow, I really got this girl. She's down for me, even though he didn't know that she signed some agreement to be in witness protection or, you know, to roll on him or whatever. So, but she wasn't going to. She was going to leave town, which I told y'all that's the reason why she kept that daggone money from Ghost. She kept that check because of her little insurance policy. I don't know if that's exactly how she was going to move out or, you know, leave town, but I think that was going to be her way out for sure. But it was, you know, just definitely heartbreaking, and I didn't expect it. It was expected, right, that Keisha would die. But it definitely wasn't expected that Tasha was going to be the one to pull the trigger. Like, that totally was unexpected right there. And so I don't know where we go from here, you know? Where does this leave Ghost and Tommy? Like, is Tommy going to automatically think that it's Ghost? It looks like that's how it's going to be for the previews for next week, right? But who knows, you know? I'd like to know what you guys think, like, if it was the other way around. Like, if Keisha would have managed to tussle, and and win the tussle, or actually it was Tasha that got shot by accident, do you think that Keisha would have finished her off? Comment down below and let me know what you think about that. I kind of feel like Keisha wouldn't have, you know what I'm saying? But then again, you never know, right? Another thing is that Tasha, when she was leaving the scene, you know, I'm looking at her touching all on the knob, you know, like the door handle and everything. And I'm like, yo, girl, you over here leaving all your fingerprints around. And I don't remember if she took the gun or not. So that's another thing. Did she take the gun with her? You know what I'm saying? Because I don't remember. Let me know if y'all peeped that or whatever. Like I said, I just finished watching it. So normally before I do my reviews, I watch the episode twice. But I didn't this time. I kind of like watched it and went right into it. But anyway, but you know what? Even if she did leave her fingerprints all over the place, Tommy would probably get rid of Keisha's body anyway. So it's just, it is what it is, yo. It's getting crazy. And it's anybody's life at this point. And what's going to happen to Cash? Like, is Tommy going to take care of Cash, or is Tasha going to act innocent and then take Cash in? And is he going to fall under the influence of Reek and be a runner for Reek or something like that? Like, what's going to happen with that whole thing? Because like I said, I was always wondering why they brought Cash in this season, because remember, all we used to hear was Cash's name. We knew that Keisha had a son, but we didn't know, you know what I'm saying, we never saw him before. So it was kind of like, it always made me wonder, like, all right, why did they bring this little boy in this time? Like, why couldn't he stay just a name, you know what I'm saying, and somebody that we never saw? So that right there kind of makes me wonder, okay, where do we go from here with Cash? But anyway, guys, that was my review. I know that it was pretty lengthy. Sometimes when it's so much information in an episode, it's kind of hard to condense. But anyway, I really appreciate you guys watching. Please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that you know when I upload videos, okay? Have a blessed one. Bye-bye. See you next week.